In September of 1988, did something occur that precipitated your father discussing with you that he was going to disinherit you?
He never told me why he was disinheriting me, but something did occur in September of 1988.
In July of 1988, you and your brother committed burglaries, correct?
Craig Signorelli, my brother, and I.
There were 2 houses involved, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
The home of Mr. and Mrs. John List and the home of Mr. and Mrs. Michael Ginsburg.
Yes.
With respect to Mr. and Mrs. John List, are you saying that your brother was there?
No.
According to the stipulation that was entered into earlier in the case, it reads as follows. Between July 1st, 1988 and July 10th, 1988, Eric Menéndez and a friend were at the home of another friend, John List Jr., whose parents were away on vacation. While searching for the keys to a van, Eric and his friend found a piece of paper bearing the combination to the List family safe. After the safe was opened, Eric removed money and property, correct?
Yes.
You're saying that the friend that was with you was Craig Signorelli with respect to the List house?
Yes, he was.
You're the one that entered the safe and took out money and jewelry.
Yes, I did it with Craig.
You're the one that went into the safe, not Craig Signorelli. You went into the safe and removed money and jewelry.
No, sir. If I did it alone, then Craig wouldn't have done it with me. He was with me when we were looking for the keys, as it says in there, and then we found the safe.
Mr. Menéndez, who entered the safe?
Craig and I.
Were you bumping into each other as you entered it?
It's not a walk-in safe, sir.
Right. It's a floor safe, correct?
Yes.
Who entered the safe?
Nobody entered the safe. We stood outside of it.
Did you remove something from that safe?
Yes.
And on July 14th, 1988, you and your brother entered the Calabasas residence of Michael Ginsburg.
Yes.
And you removed a combination safe and its contents from a closet.
Yes.
You remember removing a VCR?
Not specifically.
China?
Yes.
Silverware?
Yes.
A Solo Flex machine?
Yes.
An IBM computer?
Not specifically.
Jewelry?
Yes.
Did you take money in that one as well?
No.
You and your brother were not caught on that, and you were actually turned in on September 16th, over 2 months after you had committed these crimes, correct?
I turned myself in on September 16th.
Now, when you say you turned yourself in, your father was with you, correct?
My father and an attorney.
And your father accompanied you to the Malibu Sheriff's Station, correct?
Yes, we came with a U-Haul truck.
And he assisted in taking the property that you had stolen and turning it over to the sheriffs, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your father also had to make restitution to the victims, Mr. and Mrs. List and the Ginsburg, for property that was not returned, correct?
I was not aware of that, but I learned that later.
What is it that was not returned?
I don't remember what was not returned. I thought everything was returned. We bought it in a big U-Haul truck, and my father did not discuss with me. I know he had to pay some cash. I didn't know why.
Could it have been that you spent some of the cash that you took out of the List safe?
No, I don't believe I did.
You didn't spend any of that cash?
My parents found it in my, I don't remember how much money, in a safe in my house, in my closet.
How long after you had committed these crimes did they find this money in your safe?
Soon after.
And did they ask you where you got the money?
Yes.
And what did you tell them?
I told them that my brother, Craig, and I had gotten this from 2 houses.
Craig was with you with regard to the List house.
Yes.
You're the one that went into the safe, removed items from the safe.
It was Craig and I were right there. I did as well, yes.
And you and your brother entered into the Ginsburg residence, correct?
Yes.
Did you describe for your father exactly what you did in those 2, the grand theft from the List and the residential burglary of the Ginsburgs?
No, I didn't describe it for him at all. I told him what we took and drove him to where we had it.
Did you tell Dr. Oziel that your father had criticized you and your brother for the way you did those burglaries?
No. What I told Dr. Oziel was that Dad told us that we were too stupid. We did them stupidly and that we got caught, and that if we were going to do something, we should do it right.
Did that go into your state of mind as to how you would commit the murder of your parents?
No.
Do you remember talking to Dr. Oziel and relating things that went into the mix of why you wanted to kill your parents?
Yes, but that's not when that was related.
Did the burglaries that you committed have anything to do with your father discussing with you the disinheritance?
My father did not discuss things with me. He told me I was disinherited. The burglaries play into it. He told me that I did them stupidly. I thought that it might have something to do with it, but he wouldn't have just disinherited me over a burglary issue. He was pretty angry with me throughout that summer, mostly because I was ranked 70 in tennis, and he thought I was a pretty big failure.
So it wasn't the fact that you did residential burglaries that made him upset and want to disinherit you. It was because you were ranked 70th in tennis?
The 70th was more important to him, from what I thought. I'm sure he was upset about the burglaries, there's no question about it. But I don't think that was the main, that may have been the straw that broke the camel's back. But I don't know exactly what played into it.
He was upset that you had committed these crimes, correct?
Yeah, I would say he was also upset that we did it. He was upset that we did it poorly.